If you could time travel back to 2007 and you were able to bring back 5 Bionicle sets with you to the present day, well, which sets are you gonna bring back? Well, let's discuss the best Bionicle sets of 2007, because it's widely considered the best year for Bionicle. Then we'll see if your top 5 is similar to mine or a little bit different. So I'm gonna begin with the number 5 spot, and that goes to a set that I think some of you might have thought would be a little higher up on the list, and maybe it should have been higher. But hey, it's still super awesome no matter where it places. It's Kazani. Kazani's a really big and important character in the Bionicle story, so actually getting him in LEGO form is awesome. Especially since there's so many story characters that never were brought to life in a physical set. So it's a good one-off in that sense, I like that. Now I love the way that they've done the head design here, placing 2 of these foot pieces that originally came on Prydac in white, but of course here they're dark green. Yeah, doing this and then building around it, honestly it makes for a brilliant looking face design. And something about it is just so fitting for an underwater character. Now Kazani also had some brilliant recolored parts, like the Vakama Hordika mask in dark green on the legs. Such a strange, but really cool inclusion. And also these nice torso armor pieces in a cool lime and dark green marbled color. They look really good, don't they? And you couple that with the clever part use of using LX masks for Kazani's hand design, placing some claws in the eyepieces there. It's clever. It wasn't always the most sturdy connection, those claws would kind of fly everywhere unfortunately, but still it looked cool. Yeah mate, this set is filled with all sorts of incredible details, brilliant building techniques, what's not to love? And to top it off, you get this trap mechanism and 2 Matoran to be fighting Kazani and yeah, trying to get him inside this trap. I love this concept. I adore sets that have the fun versus dynamic. And the excitement of a fight between 2 good boys and a bad guy? What a great concept. It's that kind of David and Goliath fight. Can these 2 tiny dudes take on this colossal, massive, absolute unit? That's just exciting. And I think honestly that's a better concept than getting a larger Toa figure to fight Kazani. You know, the odds are stacked against these guys. Can you defeat him? Well, you're gonna have to buy the set to figure it out. Yeah, I think this set just ticks all the boxes for what makes a good Bionicle set. And also, unfortunately, this is extremely expensive today. There was one sealed in box at Brickvention earlier this year, and they were asking 2,500 Australian dollars for it. And I think that was even on the lower price end to what a sealed one was going for on Bricklink, if I'm not mistaken. It's insanely expensive, so you know, hey, if we are traveling back in this time machine, at least we can get it for an affordable price. Number 4 now, this goes to the brilliant Jala Mahri. Okay, I was obsessed with this set as a kid because Jala looked so freaking cool. This elegant torso design with this sick curved armor flowing up from the torso. And the way that that neatly mirrors the top of Jala's mask. Stunning. There's such a nice heroic look to this character that to me encapsulates the ideal look for a Toa. They're valiant, they're almost a little bit knight-like, but not quite, and just wonderfully heroic. Jala has it all. And also this sword element. It's one of, if not, the best Bionicle weapon pieces they ever made. A big, mighty broadsword like this, and it also allows you to attach some lightsaber bars on the bottom there, if you want to. What's not to love? So yeah, I played with Jala Mahri a lot. I was obsessed with him because of how cool he looked, and you know, I think he ranks above Kazani for me, mainly just because of nostalgia purposes. But I mean, heck, I remember talking to a bunch of friends on mock pages ages ago, discussing for a long time why Jala Mahri was the best. And then all of us went and grabbed our Jala figures and sat them by our computer as we talked about it. It was some good times. He's the best. So yeah, valiant, awesome looking mask, cool torso design, and a pet crab with a giant blaster on its back. The best. Now up next in the number 3 spot, it's one that I love, but I also don't love too much for some unfortunate reasons. We'll discuss it in a second. It's Harley Mahri. Okay, so yeah, Jala is a really cool Toa, but mate, Harley looks so good. This angel-like appearance with this brilliant new wing element, this incredible mask with breathing tubes and a scuba diving aesthetic, and a cool little searchlight on top as well. They've got a nice silver claw, which is a sick weapon to give her, and then a good old blaster to go with her on the other arm. Incredible! She was often front and center in a lot of the promotional material for the Mahri era of Bionicle sets, and I remember the first time I saw her in the LEGO Club magazine, I was like, whoa, that's the best Bionicle set they've ever made. Blew me away as a kid. I feel like that moment alone makes this set so special for me. I'm sure you remember it too, the first time you laid eyes on a specific wave of Bionicle sets and you were like, oh my god, this is heaven. So yeah, everything about Harley Mahri is great. Well, everything except, of course, the lime sockets. If you had this set, or other Bionicle sets at the time that also had lime sockets, you'll know that they were incredibly brittle, like really brittle. There are many Bionicle fans out there that had issues with these pieces breaking or snapping or just not being that sturdy. And so as a result, it's very hard to build with these lime sockets, or even hard to play with them, or even hard to just like pose or take apart this set because they're probably going to snap. It's a real shame because, hey, otherwise this set is perfection, but the joints, they're a problem. But hey, regardless, the look of Hully, peak character design for Bionicle. So freaking cool. Okay, the number 2 spot now, and this goes to a true classic, a brilliant set. It's Maxilos and Spinax. A big old bad guy titan with a pet dog? I'm sold, it's perfection. Now, I remember thoroughly enjoying and playing with Maxilos and Spinax. The fun dynamic of a tall, imposing dude and his pet guard dog that you also have to fight. That's so cool. He was the perfect prison guard or Makuta-possessed robot, and the design for Spinax and his posable jaw, the 6 spikes all along the back, there's a great range of posability in the limbs too, he's brilliant. And Maxilos, this menacing mask, this gorgeous gunmetal armor, a shoulder-mounted turret, and a sick weapon. There's not a single bad thing about this set, man. One of the best Titan sets that LEGO ever made right here. Honestly, all of the Titans across the entirety of the Mahri wave. So good. When I think of a LEGO Titan, Maxilos is often the first one that comes to mind. Imposing, scary, menacing, good designs, great pieces, he's got it all. Lots to love. Okay, now it's time for some honorable mentions, and then we'll get to that number 1 spot. The first honorable mention goes to Deca. As a kid, I loved any Bionicle set that was yellow. It was my favorite color, and LEGO didn't really make too many sets that had a yellow color scheme. Plus, Deca had this great mask. And the way that they designed the body for this Mahri Matoran, I thought it was one of the best designs they'd made for Matoran. I also had a lot of fun playing with this set as a kid. For like a solid month after school, I would go home, play with Deca as well as Diflak as well. Did all that before I had to do some homework, and I remember trying to drag that period out as long as I could before I had to start the homework. And at the time, this was very early into the release of the Mahri era set, so I only had those 2 Matoran to play with. And I had all sorts of fun memories playing with them just by themselves. And then I remember the day that I learned Deca then became Hydraxon, and it blew my mind. A lot of good playtime, really good designs, and some cool story stuff that goes with this character. He's great, even though he's small. Calmar is next. Now, actually, after I bought Deca and Diflak, I then bought Calmar, and then I had a good whack of time playing with those 3 sets. That was also very fun. Essentially playing out little horror movies as this giant squid-like, evil Barraki terrorized these 2 Matoran, but they could fight back and defeat him if they tried hard enough. It was fun. Now, Calmar's design I think is wonderful. 3 squid eyes on this awesome looking mask, a sick orange tentacle weapon, and this great marbled armor piece that has a wonderful underwater creature texture to it. It's the best. It's a brilliant Barraki design. I love everything about it. And I think getting this set first was the perfect little introduction into getting the rest of the Barraki. Really whet my appetite as I got ready for the rest of the sets. Now, Calmar is certainly a good Barraki, but my favorite Barraki has to be Carapar. The incredibly unique colored pieces that come on this set, they're wonderful, and I love that you get so many of them in just the one set. I love his big, bulky look and this crab inspiration. Dude is just the best. He's so dorky and dumb, but in all the right ways. I love him. The next honorable mention, I had to include Huki in this list because he gets so much hate from fans, but hey, he's awesome. A great color scheme. Heat orange is one of the best unique colors to come out of Bionicle. The lovely asymmetrical design that he has with these giant spikes sticking out of one of his shoulders, but then on the other side he's got ammo strapped onto the side of his arm. Dude looks like he's fresh out of like the apocalypse with a design that looks like something out of Mad Max or something. It's brilliant. And this mask is great. This interesting, almost battle axe looking mask, and the fact that the area around the mouth is actually left open so that you can put a like breathing tube into the mouth. I think that's so cool and so clever for this underwater theme. Plus, I've seen people put that mask on Paraka skulls so that you can take advantage of the fact that it doesn't have a mouth area and just use that big teethy grin that the Paraka have. It's a great mask. Why do people hate it? It's so cool. Yeah, dude, I think this set had a lot of really good concepts to it. It's a good one. It's an underrated one. And at last, we have Gunko. Now, this set surprised me when I first got it. I'd already bought all the other Titans from this wave, and I loved them so much. And because of that, I thought, okay, I'll give Gunko a try. I'm not too sure I like this one that much, but if the other ones were this good, he must be good too. Surely, right? Well, I'm glad I did that because Gunko was a surprise hit for me. I remember building him and then being like, whoa, this is great. This clever teeth design using these same spike pieces that we saw before on Spinax's back, but using them as teeth. Very clever. And then having a nice red tongue behind the mouth. Plus you get this beautiful, cool new glow-in-the-dark headpiece. And all of Gunko's proportions, like this larger head and the creepy looking limbs. It's so wonderfully different from any other Titan that we got, not just in this wave of 2007 sets, but any Titan ever. Such a weird but wonderful set. And he's also downright creepy. What a great set. Now I'm going to be a bit cheeky and I'm going to throw an extra honorable mention in here because this doesn't really count as a set, but I need to talk about it. It's Pit Brutaka. So in 2007, and a few years after that, images of this box art started floating around online, and I remember having all kinds of discussions with people about this set. People who claimed it was real, people who swore that they saw it in a Toys R Us but never bought it. It was this like phantom set that never existed, but only in legends was it real. And for a while, I totally believed that this set actually existed and was just incredibly rare. But it doesn't. This is a fan creation, this was never real. But oi, it's such a joy to look back at some of those early childhood legends. It's like, oh, yeah, there's a Mew underneath the truck in Pokemon Red. You know, all those crazy things that we made up on the playground as kids that were never true, but it was so fun to believe that they were with childlike glee and naivety. So because of that, this has a very special place in my heart. But also, even though it's not a real set, the idea looks great. You know, some people have recreated it with pieces that did exist. And using Carapa's armor with the gold of Brutaka, it's very, very nice. And in the canon story, Brutaka did go to the pit and was there when all this stuff was happening. So it worked with the story of Bionicle as well. But yes, sadly, it was not real. But we can dream. Maybe my time machine will actually take me to an alternate dimension where this does exist, and then I'll be like, hey, I do have it now. Who knows? Okay, so that's it for honorable mentions. Now, the number one spot. This is truly a legendary set. You might have seen this one coming. It's Hydraxon. This set blew me away as a kid. Hydraxon's got so many great weapons, a super cool looking mask, but most importantly, posable fingers. Now they aren't big and chunky posable fingers like Axon had. No, these could fit with any standard Toa build. It's genius. And then after this set came out, every Bionicle mock ever started using these same pieces to build this same finger design. It was like a revolution. I mean, I included posable fingers in all of my mocks as well. It was really fun. It's just such a great way to make mocks so much more expressive. It's a great way to, pose your characters and have a bit of fun. Such a good inclusion. And the fact that this set brought forth a revolution of putting posable fingers on your creations, well, it certainly deserves this number one spot. But also with how cool Hydraxon looks, well, they earned their place at number one. Now, I remember as a kid when this set came out, my mum was looking to buy a set that they could give to some kids who couldn't really afford presents during Christmas. So we went to Toys R Us and my mum was like, all right, pick out a Lego set that you think someone roughly your age would like. And I was like, oh, easy question, it'd be Hydraxon. Who wouldn't want this? It's the best Bionicle set. I would be very happy with it for Christmas, although at the time I already had one, but I was like, hey, if I didn't have one and I got it on Christmas, I'd be elated. So I'm telling you, man, Hydraxon slaps. Perfect set. So there you go, that's my top 5 sets and a few honorable mentions that came out in 2007. If you had a time machine and you were going back in time, would you pick out the same sets or would you go for something a little bit different? I'd love to hear your order in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.